I'm Joseph Hoffman. Today we are going to be talking about posture and balance. Posture. What does posture have to do with music? Some of you might be thinking, I'd rather just play the notes. I don't really care what my body's doing. When you are using your body the right way, in balance, your fingers, your whole arm, and everything you do about playing your instrument is going to work better. You'll be amazed if you follow these principles of balance and posture. Let me give you an example. When I was a kid, I played baseball. Now imagine with me for a moment, I want to stand up and hit a ball, and if I'm holding my bat like this, am I going to get a very powerful swing? No, I don't think so. My arms aren't in the right shape, and I'm not in balance for using my muscles to their most powerful potential. So my coach taught me I've got to put my feet a little bit apart, bend my knees slightly, keep my elbows out, my weight on my back foot, and then when I swing, I'll have a lot of power for a great home run hit. Well, playing the piano, playing the violin, playing the guitar, any instrument you play, it's important that your body is in balance so your muscles are free to move the way they need to play their best. Today, we're going to focus specifically on what I call points of balance. Points of balance are places that need to be in balance with each other so that your body can move freely. Let's imagine for a minute that you have a tower of blocks. If those blocks are out of line with each other, what's going to happen to your tower? Of course, it will fall. But if those blocks are all stacked up in a line, then they balance each other without any work or effort. Well, your body is the same way. If your head is leaning forward like this, now all my neck muscles are working really hard to hold my head up. If I walked around like this all day, by the end of the day, my neck would be hurting and tight. That's why a lot of people have neck and back problems, and they get pain in their older age because they've spent their whole lifetime out of balance. And so, let's talk about our points of balance, and then I'll let you practice finding those points of balance yourself. Let's start with our head. Your head attaches to the top vertebrae of your neck with what's called the AO joint. The AO joint, well, any joint in your body, is just two places that bones meet, and there can be movement around a joint. So your head or skull connects to the top vertebrae of your neck at the AO joint. And to feel where that is, well, you can't exactly feel it with your hands because it's inside your body. But to feel where the AO joint is, try just placing your fingers inside your ear, just gently touch inside there, and nod your head up and down like this. And you'll feel the motion of your AO joint, how your head can just freely move up and down, rocking forward and back on that AO joint, which would be somewhere in between your two fingers if you place them in your ears. So that's the first point that we want to balance. And it ought to be balanced right over your shoulders. Remember, if your head is like this, now you're out of balance and your neck is having to work really hard to keep your head from falling off your shoulders. But if you put your AO joint in line with your shoulders, now your head is going to feel lighter and more free to move around and do its job. And your neck muscles won't have to work nearly so hard. They can just be free to move your head around. Now, going down from your shoulders, your next point of balance is called your lumbar spine. Yes, your lumbar spine. That's point of balance number 3. This is a model of a human spine. Yeah, so when you feel your back and you feel all those lumps in your back, all you're feeling is just the back edge of your spine, which is like the central structure of your whole body. Down here, you'll notice it gets thicker. And this is your lumbar spine. And that's your point of balance number 3. So remember your AO joint over your shoulders, over your lumbar spine, which goes right through your middle. When you feel your back, you're just feeling this edge, but it's a nice thick, almost like a post, but a flexible post. It can move and bend. Now, the next point of balance is your hip joint, and then that's balanced over your knee joint, which is balanced over your ankle joint. All of these joints, when they're in a line, you're balanced, and your muscles are free to move. So let's review one more time all the points of balance in your body. Say them with me. AO joint, shoulders, lumbar spine, hip joint, knee joint, and ankles, all in a line. Now, let's talk specifically about if you're a piano student. When you sit at the piano, of course, your knee joint and your ankles are going to be in a different place. I recommend always having something firm under your feet. If your legs are not long enough to reach the floor yet, then I highly recommend that you get a footstool of some kind that is the right height for your feet. Let me show you what we use at our academy. At Hoffman Academy, we use these wonderful footrests that are designed to be adjustable so they can be just the right height for your feet. I'll put a link on our website where you can find where we purchase these from. So when you sit at the piano, now you're going to think just about 4 points of balance. Your AO joint, over your shoulders, over your lumbar spine, over your hips. So let me show you an example of the lumbar spine not being in balance. If I'm sitting like this, now see how my lumbar spine is kind of sticking out the back and my hip joint's kind of forward and my shoulders are forward and my head is forward. Now I'm not in balance. But if I bring my lumbar spine in over my hips, now my shoulders and my AO joint can all be in balance. Now remember that balance is a starting point, but sometimes when you play, you're going to come out of balance, like when you lean down to play a low note or when you lean up to play a high note. So it's okay to come out of balance as long as you always then return back to balance. So it's a flexible posture, always in motion. So let's try 2 postures. Tell me if you feel like this is in balance or out of balance. How does that look? My head is not in balance, is it? And my lumbar spine was not in balance either. And I felt kind of cramped as I was playing. How was my balance that time? It felt much freer. My body was able to move fluidly and express the music just the way I wanted to. This week when you're practicing, I hope you'll think about your points of balance. Before you even start to play, check in with all of your joints. Your AO joint, over your shoulders, over your lumbar spine, over your hip joint, over your knee joint, and over your ankles if you're standing, or if you're sitting, make sure you feel something firm under your feet and that you're balanced from your hip joint all the way up to your AO joint. And then let yourself move flexibly as you need to. Thanks for watching today. Next week, we'll be talking more about posture and balance and how you can play your very best by knowing about these principles. See you next time.